Welcome back to the Maven Show. So today, this is Rohit Arora, and I am the founder and CEO of Mavenwit. So today we have special guest. So we have Sunir Shah from Appbind. So that he's the founder and CEO of Appbind, and he's been doing a great job into the SaaS industry for the last couple of many years now. And welcome in, Sunir. And then we have John. So John is the partnerships manager at the Maropost, and he has did the incredible job in the partnerships from last 1 year over this Mavenwit as well, and we've been doing such great stuff. And yeah, welcome in, guys.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for being on
Yeah,
our podcast too. I appreciate it.
yeah,
We're becoming
excited to
fast
be
friends.
here.
Yeah, like I would love to start, just have a couple quick fiery questions, like running out of my head. So just go over, like say, like scenario. So first, up to you. Like how would you like to explain the marketing to all of our audience, and how does it mean to you?
Yeah, I have like a kind of a more abstract way of thinking about it because it helps me a lot to prioritize my work beyond just what most people think marketing is, which is shouting at the world, hoping it pays you money, which is I think what most people think marketing is. To me, I use the book. I don't know if you've ever read Crossing the Chasm by Jeffrey Moore, but to me, that's the greatest book ever in marketing. And just to summarize, what is a market in his world? To paraphrase, it's a defined group of people who refer to each other for information about what even their problems are and then what to buy. And most people think of that meaning word of mouth, but really it's actually any place that people look for information, whether it's friends or billboards or magazines or YouTube or software or consultants or whatever you're doing. That's the market. And your job as a marketer is to have the market, other people than you, tell your story to that customer, and for them to resonate with that story so much that you win 50% of that market. That's basically it. And that's a totally different way of thinking about it than shouting at the world. Not seeing the market as a structure, but that's what a market is. It's a place where people meet, right? Buyers and sellers.
Like what do you think, like from the customer standpoint, or like what do you mean by like messaging, positioning, brand positioning? Like the category comes into the place, and then we have the alignment, like like the 4 P's comes into place, like price, packaging, and so on. Like what do you mean by the same? Like how does that go?
Actually a good point. So the customer is the market, and really not really, but they're the center of the market. As much I've talked to so many, I mean, I work in SaaS software, companies, and so many CEOs when I was a consultant hadn't talked to a customer for 2 years because they're so busy building the company. And then I asked them, "What's your corporate goal?" And they always say more revenue. And I keep saying, "Well, if you drive, wherever you look is where the car will go. If you're looking at your bank account, that's where you're driving the company. The problem is your bank account already has all your money."
Yeah.
Right? The customer's the one with the money. So really, what you have to do all the time is be talking to customers, seeing the world from their point of view, because they're the ones you're trying to motivate and change. So all this stuff, positioning, categorization, placement, distribution, pricing, packaging, this is all about how you fit into the customer's life, which is what a true marketer does, is they actually leave the four walls of their company, go out into the world, the market, and like live in the customer's world and then bring your company to the customer. That is what marketing truly is.
Yeah, if I can comment on that, I love that analogy, and I loved when you used the word story as well. I mean, if you think of any traditional organization who wants to sell something, you've got your sales organization who is doing the selling, but without the marketing to attract people into it, without telling a story, without understanding who your customer is and who you're buying to, and what the content and the message is, and what you're looking to do to drive that sale, and ultimately turn that buyer into a champion, right? An evangelist of what you do, which is key. Without the marketing side of things, you've really got nothing.
Awesome. And then John, you've been into email industry for so long. Like what do you mean? Like what do you think? Like what's the role of email marketing into the thing? Like how does it impact them?
Well, I mean, it's not everything. There's so many different components to marketing, and then getting into digital marketing and those types of things. I guess where I'd start is to say, a lot of people have kind of this perception that, email marketing is dead. I guess I'd probably start there to say just the opposite. It's still alive. In fact, there is a gentleman who's well respected globally named Ryan Dice, who runs a company called Digital Marketer. He hosts an event every year that has about 6,000 attendees in the States here, and is considered a thought leader. And just 2 years ago, as they were coming out of the pandemic, they had an event, and he opened with a keynote, and he asked the question, what does everybody think the number one component, the number one thing to communicate and drive interest in your business? What is the number one thing you would think that I would recommend that you use? And of course, people were thinking TikTok or Pinterest or various social platforms and YouTube, things of that nature. And what he answered was, and this was just a year and a half ago. The answer was email marketing. This wasn't 20 years ago. This wasn't 10 years ago. Email marketing. So even just throwing a couple statistics at you, 86% of professionals, I found the statistic, said that email marketing is actually their favorite way to communicate. And that 4 out of 5 marketers said they'd rather give up social media than email based on the results that they're getting. Just boil it down to a simple statistic. Did you know that for every dollar you spend on email marketing, that you get an average of a $42 return? That's 4,200%. So it's critical. And I mean, it's not critical to every way that you market or to the products that you're selling. It's different for everybody, but it's a very important piece for most businesses, particularly in the e-commerce space. And it's important that you do it well, because you can do it poorly. But anyway, yeah, that's right. Those are my 2 cents.
Awesome. Scenario, like you just talked about the marketing for like everything. Like, what do you mean, like specifically like digital marketing? Like it's been booming for last many years now. We've been experiencing, because are obviously an agency working into digitalization so far, and we guys have already been worked with a couple of brands into the same industry as well. What do you think? Like, what does it mean by the digital marketing specifically?
That's a really good question. And if you think about even what Appbind does, is we support digital marketing agencies setting up the internet marketing for usually non-technical clients. And so this question really comes down to the core value prop of not only Appbind, our customers, but how their own clients view them. And digital marketing is only obviously one part of marketing. Not everything is digital, right? But when you're thinking about where in the 2022 a customer is going to look for information, the first place they're going to look for is Google. I mean, that's basically the starting point of everything. And they're online, they might be on social, right? They're going to emails another way. They're online. Everything is digital. Not everything, but a lot of their lives, their work lives are digital. And so digital marketing is very, very, very important. It's not everything. Let's define it in the opposite. Like there are of course still event marketing. There's still billboard, radio, TV, word of mouth marketing. Direct mail is still surprisingly effective. I mean, you get door knockers every day. I get a million real estate paper flyers in my door every day. These things are still important as well, but usually they all connect eventually to digital because it's the cheapest way, as John pointed out, to keep up with people and build a community. And then if you ask, then what's the difference between like paper and billboards and digital marketing? I think this is a little bit of me giving an idea out there, but digital internet marketing is so complicated. It's no longer just about sending a message, right? It's also about the technology, because the internet is actually a software platform primarily where we run messages. And so digital marketing and digital marketing agencies need to actually think also about the overall software infrastructure that goes in with marketing. And that can be kind of intimidating to someone who's non-technical. And that's where, the agency comes in. This is where your job comes in, setting up the funnels. And that's where, Maropost comes in. It's a complicated piece of software, right? And you have a channel program where you have agencies, and this is where Appbind supports the agencies to set up, like a plumber, the whole marketing funnel, right? Without having to get clients involved. And this is, what the future of marketing will be, increasingly more technical, which is interesting.
Yeah. And John, like, do you think like people don't get results in email marketing, like specifically in email marketing, and like I have heard of like from many of them, but probably it works for us, it works for our customers, it works from into the industry so far for us as well. But we guys must have heard like people don't get results in email marketing. What do you say about this?
Well, that's true. First thing I would say that it's a huge problem, because doing email marketing, you need to learn to do it well. And there's a lot of different components to it. I would say, one of the first things you want to think about is making sure that you're getting organic interest in the business, which is exactly where things like digital marketing come in, right? Attracting the right people into your business. You don't want to do things like go out and buy lists, for example. You're going to have problems right from the get-go. When people don't know who you are, you're going to have high degrees of bounces, you're going to have high degrees of spam flags and those types of things, and that's going to get you booted right off of your, email service provider, if you will, and ruin their reputation, ruin your reputation. So, you want to start with things like organic, lists where people are opting into receiving their communication. That's where Sunir can help you in terms of attracting the right people and getting them to opt in to receive your communication, where you can, just like a regular relationship, where you can start to develop a relationship and earn trust, which is critical. But the cool thing is that you can do those types of things with various ways, various components of digital marketing and email marketing specifically. Another challenge is that people often will just do blasts, right? If you will. And you want to avoid blasting out the same message to everybody. You want to think about segmenting your population and talking to everybody in the appropriate way. And that's where you can start getting into things like, maybe you've heard the term marketing campaigns, where you can create individualized, tailored, targeted, specific campaigns where you can start to turn that stranger into somebody who knows you, a believer, right? Somebody who ultimately then becomes a buyer, somebody who ultimately becomes an evangelist. Those are different levels or circles of trust that you're moving people through. But the cool thing is you can do it with email, and by using the right campaigns, using campaigns that kind of shift and move based on what somebody clicks or doesn't do or does do, and taking them down the right path and then segmenting them, right? We want to talk to our leads one way. We want to talk to our buyers another way. We want to talk to maybe men one way and women a different way, and maybe women who like silver versus gold. Those are all different conversations and different ways to communicate. So, it involves the content of those communications. It involves taking them down the right path. It involves building trust and engagement, and all of those pieces to do it well. And you want to make sure you've got the right platform as well that has a good reputation to ensure that you're going to get those emails into the inbox, right? And find out where your failures are happening. So those are all, it can get kind of complicated and dicey. So you want to have the right people behind you, but that's, generally some of the missteps people make is by not segmenting, not having the right messaging, buying lists versus organically driving people into your business, kind of thing. So, yeah, good question.
Yeah, Sunir, tell me, according to you, you've been into SaaS industry for so long now, obviously, and what do you think, what's the role of a digital marketing agency so far, and in anything and in everything?
So the digital marketing agency has a few roles because digital marketing is so vast. And so step one is actually just operating the complexity of digital technology that is the marketing channel. So email marketing, just speaking, as John was saying, there's a lot of segmentation, setting up cadences, lists, campaigns. There's newsletters, there's one-on-ones, there's account-based marketing, account-based sales, there's lead nurturing drips. That's kind of stuff that can overwhelm typical business owners focused on other things. And that's so a digital agency can help organize the different channels, the different strategies, the different tactics, and actually run the software. The second thing is it's so easy with digital marketing because you don't actually interact with a human being because you're talking through glass, like your computer, and you become invisible. And it feels often like you're standing up in the middle of Hyde Park or on a chair screaming at the world, hoping that they will pay attention to you, right? But email, just for instance, is so intimate that it's off-putting. And so a good digital marketing agency will also provide an understanding of the human beings who are the audience members of any of these campaigns, and make sure you're communicating in a way that makes sense given the different kinds of digital channels. And there are so many different channels, like obviously TikTok. You might have a more flashy style. An email, you want to talk more direct and personal about people's anxieties rather than just like, I have some great product. I give something. You want to do a give campaign. You want John alluded to, like what I might offer you. Like we're running things called appbind.com/agency cocktails, and we have the Cloud Software Association, which we buy drinks for the SaaS companies. We offer drinks, a place for networking for agencies and software companies. It's a give campaign that that I bring in other partners to. You got to think about this, and a good marketing agency will also level up the execution and bring in the idea of what the human being is and what they need on the other side of the communication.
Awesome. And like John, and like into the email marketing industry, like what do you think, like how does content, like call to action, deliverability, support, and usage of the right tools, how does all these things comes into the place? Just the content, like content copywriting, or choosing the right platform for the email marketing, or like the deliverability, like how many emails are delivered, like what's the bounce rate, so on, stats, analytics, and so on. Like, what do you know about, like what do you want to share about this?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, if you're a business, whether you're an e-commerce business or any other kind of business, you've got to be out there looking for the right people to help you, right? And that often comes in the form of working with people like you, working with people like Sunir to help give them guidance to choose, because there's really, from my email world, there's two major components, right? There is the actual platform itself, like Maropost, for example, that actually does the sending and provides the reporting that you speak about, provides the ability to do marketing campaigns, provides reporting on what's not working and what's working, what's getting delivered, what's not, what campaigns are working, right? So that's a big piece, is the right ESP, email service provider, and then having somebody like you guys who can design the strategy, because that's just one part of it. The other part of it is, how do we get people to opt into our communications? How do we talk to them? It's content. How do we make sure that those emails get delivered? Because it's not just about the platform, it's about the content that goes into it, and that we want to make sure that people are engaging with our content and driving the behavior that we want them to drive, which typically is to buy something or to get them buy again or tell other people about it, those types of things. So there's two major components, and you can rely on somebody like yourself, somebody like Sunir, to help give you the guidance in choosing the right platform, and then of course choosing all of the right content to get into that platform so that it can actually deliver the results.
Like one of that's a really good sentiment to end on. And actually, that John ended on, you asked me about what's the rule of digital marketing. And I realized like it's so chaotic, like all the things you mentioned, reporting, metrics, tools, all this stuff. It's so chaotic. And if you take a higher level, every digital marketer is reporting to someone who's their customer, whether it's their boss if they're working inside a company, or an agency to a client. And that boss, depending on their level of interest, just wants you to take care of this problem for them, because what they want is revenue. They want customers, they want revenue, and they want you to like organize this for them. Like, what's the role of a digital marketer rather than digital marketing? Like your role to your customer, whether it's your boss or your client, is to say, I can get money from this magical internet machine and I will bring it up to order in chaos. If you just take that as your baseline function, calming down your client, bringing their life back under control, taking away their anxiety around this incredible complicated thing that we call the internet. If that's your North Star, you will do well in your career, for sure.
That's all, guys. So I guess we guys came to the conclusion, like, so we guys are about to end, like, so, and I think you guys think like what works for our audience, what works for the audience in like marketing or in advertising, is someone who just get started with email marketing, who was just getting started with the marketing or digital marketing. Do you guys want to add anything, like just a small quick tip for them for getting them started, like how they want to go, how they should go to get a success, in a quick span period of time, and with the right tools and with the right metrics and so on?
Yeah, I will say, choose wisely. I'll start by, let me come back and say, don't try to do this yourself. It's a complicated world, and it's becoming more and more complicated. And even if you have a great solution, if you don't have the right people to help you with that great solution, so choose wisely in whoever's consulting you in your business to help you, and get that help and spend the money. You get the right help, you're going to get the right results. It costs a little money, But it is worth it if you've got the right people at the end of the day, and you've got a good product at the end of the day to sell.
And I'll
Choose one.
say 2 tips. One, actually, to be contrasting, don't start with digital marketing because it's so dangerous to be locked on your side of the computer, never seeing the customer. Just spend a day or 2 going out into the world, do some networking events, that we can do that again, and try the messaging and pitching and with the customer to get a sense of who they are before you start talking to them. It's easier to write a message for someone you can humanize. It's important to spend some face time with your customers before you start digital. And the second thing I'll say, I mean, obviously pitch my own stuff, but I think this is a big problem for digital agencies, is you really do want to take care of your client and bring chaos to the level of technology. So do get out of the labor trap of just selling the labor running the marketing. Start to think of yourself as also a marketing technology company and bring and say, I'll take care of the software stack, the funnel, and whatever. And obviously, AppBind will help you manage the expenses and billing, so the clients pay for it instead of you. That's what we do. But in general, this is the secret to actually building a sustainable business as an digital agency, is to become also a systems integrator, because you really are building this plumbing system, meaning the marketing funnel. It's complicated, and why not own that? That's a product. It's a productized service right there, waiting for you to say, "Yeah, I'll take care of that for you."
One other thing is, think about what it is that you are selling at the end of the day. You're selling you, right? And you and your products, you need to be a quality person that people can trust. Your marketing all will follow that same path. So if you're looking to spam people and those types of things, or sell a garbage product, or perceived as a fraudster, you're in trouble right from the get-go. It's not going to happen no matter how hard you try and how much money you spend, because digital marketing works largely the same way. I mean, we want to make sure you're marketing a quality product, and we want to market you as a quality person that people can believe and trust in, because that's the only way they're going to ultimately buy your products at the end of the day.
And I guess it's at the end, it's about relationships. It's about the connections with the customers, the loyalty of the brand, and the obviously that's how the brand is to like get to be replicated into the market, like have a good brand image and go on with the same. That's amazing. Awesome, guys. That's all, I guess. That's all for today. Over to the show. And thank you so much for sharing your insights. I guess these insights would like going to help our audience a lot in the long run, getting started into the marketing, digital marketing. And with this episode, I guess these guys will obviously like have to get a lot of knowledge. So thank you so much, Sunir and John, for having into the show and showcasing your knowledge, expertise, and everything into the
Yeah,
scene.
happy to be here, and thanks for joining us. And I would say, reach out to Rohit if you've got questions and concerns, because he is a quality person, right? He will provide you what you need to do it correctly. Quick shameless plug, we're Maropost.com. We provide email marketing. We provide e-commerce primarily in the space. You can check us out again at Maropost.com. But reach out to Rohit with any questions about anything related, and he'll get it done for you.
I should do a shameful plug now. I mean, I'm Sunir at Appbind, APPB as in Bravo, IND.com. We help digital consultants, set up clients faster on their subscriptions and ads by automatically billing the customers instead of yourselves. So you can just take care of it like a good plumber, never make their clients buy their pipes and pumps. And Rohit and I have been fast friends over the last few weeks, and he's really awesome. So I appreciate you having me on as well.
Awesome. That's all. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome. Have a great day, everybody.